Hi everyone, it's Rachel and Nellie. She's a diva. When she saw the camera come out, she came and joined me on my mat. So today I'm recording a practice that's more of a vinyasa practice. It's going to include a lot of planks and lunges. If you have any kind of an injury, especially in the shoulder or wrist, definitely modify or skip certain poses. I'm asking you to use the benefit of personal practice, hi Nellie, of listening to your body, which is one of the rewards of a personal practice, is getting a little more in touch with how we feel in our body. So for me, just noticing an injury and respecting that is a really deep practice in and of itself. So with that in mind, let's get started. And we're going to start today, if it's comfortable for you, in child's pose. Now I know some people love child's pose and some people hate it. An alternative, if you don't like child's pose, would be to lie on your back, either with your knees hugged into your chest or with your feet on the floor. Whatever position you are in, deepen your breathing. Noticing the inhalation, noticing the exhalation. Noticing the fact that you're using the backs of your ribs. As you breathe, they're ballooning up towards the sky. And when you exhale, just feeling a giant release move through your whole body. Good. And then whenever you're ready, moving gently to all fours. At all times, you can repeat any of these actions coming onto your forearms if the position of being on your hands is uncomfortable. Wherever you are with your arms, broaden the space between your shoulder blades and try not to sag down in between the shoulder blades, but really feel a breadth there. Feel that you're filling the space up. The thoracic spine naturally curves backwards in between the shoulder blades. So really let that curve come into place, broaden the shoulders, feel the support of the belly. And take a couple of breaths here. Good, and then lift up your right leg and press back through that right heel. If you'd like to work pointing and flexing the foot, I don't know if you heard, my ankle just made a brilliant little crack. You could do that. I should note that not everyone likes having their knees on the floor. Feel free to pad. And then bring that right leg down. Lift the left leg up, stretch back through that left inner heel. And point and flex. Good. And then bring that left knee back down to the floor. Let's tuck the toes under, and if it's comfortable for you, stretch back into downward facing dog position. Remember, lengthening through the spine is the priority here, so if that means bending your knees a little bit or lifting the heels up off the floor, please do so. Keep the shoulder blades broad. Take deep breaths here. Notice what your body's feeling like right now at this moment in time. And then if you'd like to, begin pedaling back through the heels, pressing back with one heel as you bend the opposite knee and lift that heel off the floor. And then switching back and forth from side to side, feeling the backs of the calves lengthen. Whew, good. And then as it's comfortable, we're going to bring the right leg forward into a lunge here. If you need to come down to the floor to make that happen, feel free to do so. If you like to use blocks beneath your hands in a lunge, feel free to do so. We're going to draw the shoulder blades back away from the ears. Take a few deep breaths here. Notice what the lunge is like today. Whew. Good, and then bringing the hands back to the floor, step back to dog pose. And we'll bring the left leg forward. Draw the shoulder blades back away from the ears. Deep breathing, noticing what the lunge is like on this side today. I noticed myself lifting my chin. Here I'm going to lengthen the back of my neck, so you might want to notice, what are you doing? Good, then bringing your hands back down to the floor, step back to downward facing dog position. Moving forward into plank position, open up that space between the shoulder blades. If you want to put your knees on the floor, please do. Take a breath or two here, and let's lower down slowly to the floor. And take a breath. You could turn your head to one side or the other if you'd like, or rest your head on your hands. Good, and bringing your hands beneath your shoulders. Stretch back with the legs, draw back with the shoulder blades, and begin to lengthen forward with the breastbone. And just take a couple of deep breaths here. And then slowly roll back down. And push back to all fours. And just gently take your left hand and see if you can bring the back of the left hand to the floor. If that doesn't work for you, don't do it. Just give it a try. And I'm not really weighting it. It's enough for me to just flex that wrist. And then we're going to bring that left hand back. And then I'm going to bring my right hand, back of my right hand to the floor. And just check out what that feels like, because we've been on our wrists a lot right now. And come on down. And move your way back into child's pose. Coming forward onto your forearms. With the knees on the floor, again patting under them if you want. Draw those shoulder blades wide apart from each other. And we're going to move very gently. I'm moving with a hinge at my hips. I'm not going to be shifting my ribs around a lot here. Let me make that easier to see. Excuse me, I'm having a technical moment. There. What I'm going to do is I'm not trying not to put more pressure on my wrists. I'm using the muscles along the side of my body and my arms to slowly lift my elbows off the floor and bring them back down. And I like to coordinate this with my breath. And it doesn't matter to me if you're using the inhale to lift or the exhale to lower or the opposite. Whatever feels more natural to you, but just think about coordinating your breath with this movement. Now for a lot of us, this is a lot already. So if you want to stay doing this, taking breaks whenever you want, please do. If you would like to add a little more strength training to this, you could lift up into a dolphin pose. And again, you'll see here, I'm trying to, I don't know how successfully, the video is helping me learn. I'm trying not to hinge at my ribs as I'm doing this. And I'm just lifting my elbows and stretching back and then bringing them down to the floor. I'm being conscious not to splay out to the side with those elbows. I'm moving them straight up and down. And I'm trying to keep the back of my neck long and soft. Good. And then bring your knees down to the floor if you were doing that variation. And let's all come back into a child's pose. And just bring your arms back down by your sides, if that's comfortable. Okay. Coming on up to your knees if that's comfortable. So I'm sitting on my heels for a moment. Okay. Gonna come forward once again onto my forearms. And this time we're all gonna come into a forearm dog. Draw those shoulder blades back away from the ears. Broaden the shoulders away from each other. Take a couple of deep breaths. Good. Nice work. And then I'm going to move slightly forward with my torso and walk back with my feet until I'm in a parallel position to the floor in a forearm plank. Feel free to do this with your knees on the floor, but try to make sure you're not, I wouldn't actually put the knees under the hips as that's going to scrunch up your back. It's a little more lengthening for the curves of the spine if you bring your legs back into what would be a plank and then put your knees on the floor. It's normally a little further back. Good. And just breathing here, broadening the shoulder blades away from each other, engaging the abs, noticing my neck is really soft, my jaw is really soft. Okay, and now I'm going to come on down to the floor. And take a couple of breaths here. Good, and I'm bringing the hands beneath the shoulders. If it would feel good for you to do another cobra here, feel free to bring yourself into a bit more of a cobra. We've warmed up a bit more than we were at first. And come on down. And then we'll push back to all fours. Tuck the toes under. And if it's comfortable, roll back. Sit on your heels. Remember, you can have your weight forward here. So if this is not comfortable for you, definitely bring your weight into your hands. But if it's okay, sit on your heels with your toes tucked under. And I'm trying to broaden across the balls of my feet, so notice that they're not kind of rolling in or out. And I'm kind of adjusting my pelvis, trying to draw my rib cage to be in line with my hips, my pelvis, relaxing my neck and jaw. Good. And now listening to your knees, we're going to come into a squat. Squats don't work for everybody. So if you want to just put your feet on the floor and come into a forward bend, supporting yourself however you want to, definitely do so. The rest of us are going to lift up onto the balls of the feet. And if you'd like to, you can come into a balance here. Good. And then we're going to bring our hands to the floor. Drop the heels down, relax the head and neck. Hands can be on any support you want. If you like to push the legs into a straight position, you may do so. If that pulls at all on your back or your hamstring, just bend the knees a little bit. Keep a few deep breaths going. Whew. Good, nice work. Bending your knees, straighten your legs, come on up to standing. Good. Nice work. So we're gonna come forward here to the front of our mat. And I have my right leg forward, and I'm gonna be stepping my left leg back into a lunge. And I'm going to be doing that in a number of different ways. You could just step back into a lunge and come on up this way, right? You also could try and step back from standing, bending both knees and stepping back with the left leg. So do whatever works for you. Keep your hips pointing forward over that right leg. Good. And if it's comfortable, bring your hands to the heart, dropping the shoulders down away from the ears. If balance is a challenge, always feel free to put your left knee on the floor. Good. Good. Now I could come forward from this in a number of ways. If you are feeling like a balance challenge, step forward directly into a Tadasana position. I kind of missed. That happens. If you are feeling like you'd like a little more support, bring your hands down to blocks or floor. Bring the foot forward. And come on up. And you'll end up in the same place. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the second side. So I'm going to keep my left leg forward, and I could either bring my hands down to the floor, bend my knees, and step back with that right leg and then come up into a lunge. Or I can keep my left leg forward with the knees bent, step the right leg back into a lunge, and adjust my torso and my pelvis. Good. And bring my hands to the heart. Good. And I'm lengthening back through my right inner heel. And I'm feeling a lot of lift through the front of my low belly, a lot of support here. Good. Okay, nice work. And I could bring my hands to the floor, bring the knee forward, and then come up. Or I could step forward, hit or miss, and then come on up. And just notice how your body feels. Taking a few deep breaths into Tadasana. Good, and stretch your arms out to either side and give yourself a big hug. Now the idea isn't to have your hands way up on the tops of your shoulders here. I'm wanting them more around your ribs. I often cite Happy Days. I don't know if anyone else remembers Ralph Malph used to go in a corner and do this to pretend he had a girlfriend. That's what you're it's the Ralph Malph kind of position. I liked it. Walking your hands towards each other, broadening your elbows away from each other, broadening your collarbones away from each other. So we're not collapsing the front chest to open the back chest. We're broadening like Wonder Woman. Good. And then open your arms out wide and other arm on top. Give yourself a hug. So we're over here on the second side, and I'm going to be completely honest. We had some technical difficulties, so I'm just joining in now myself. But with the other arm on top, broaden your collarbones away from each other, as well as your shoulder blades. So remember, don't sacrifice one portion of your body for the other, right? Broaden across the entire torso. Take up some space. Why not? Deep breaths. And then go ahead and release your arms. Okay, we're going to do one of my favorite lunge variations next. So we're going to start with the right leg forward and the left leg back. And you can have your hands on the floor or on blocks. I personally like blocks here. We're going to draw our shoulder blades back away from our ears. And I'm going to bring my left knee forward towards my chest as I exhale. And I'm going to bring it back into the lunge as I inhale. And I want you to notice here, as I'm bringing that leg forward, I'm not bringing the knees together. I'm trying to keep that pelvic distance apart, just to keep be safer for my hip joints and my knees. So, and I like to work with the breath and really use this as a breath awareness practice. So we're going to exhale and bring the knee in, inhale, bring it back. Remember, if this bothers your body, just hold a static lunge, right? And try this a few times. Good. Following your own breath, your own rhythm. And then coming back into your lunge, static lunge, drawing the shoulders back. And lift with the belly so that you're really not using the leg as a table for your torso. And drawing the shoulder blades back. If it feels appropriate, open your arms out to the side. I call this wingspan. I need to move my blocks out of the way here. Sorry. Wingspan, opening the shoulder blades away from each other. Noticing how that feels. Making sure you're not overlifting the arms, you're really keeping the shoulders broad. And that means the space right in between the shoulder blade is broad too. Good, and then bring your hands down. Again, you can have your hands on blocks here. And let's bring both hands to the inside of that right leg. And we'll be either up on your forearms here. You'll notice I stepped my right leg out to the side. Right knee is above the right ankle. And I could keep myself upright on my arms here. Some people like to use things like folded blankets or pillows beneath their forearms as they come down here. And it is possible if you're hinging at the hips to come down to the forearms. And you could always feel free to have that back knee down or up. Feel free to play with that and see what works. Keep breathing here. Good. And then bringing that left knee down. Come up with your hands. Bring that right leg back to center. Come back to all fours. And take a child's pose. Okay, let's come back up to all fours. And then we're going to bring that left leg forward. And again, maybe you want to play with having some blocks. Good, drawing the shoulder blades back. You'll notice my left knee is roughly above my left ankle. Good. And now, if it feels okay for your body at this time, bring that right knee forward. And again, notice as you do so, you're not bringing the knees together. You're keeping your hips, your knees hip distance apart. And then come back. And then begin to do this following the breath. I like to exhale my leg forward, inhale it back. If a different breathing pattern feels good for you, listen to your body before my words. Your body knows what's good for it. Good. And just noticing what comes up for you. And then let's all come back into a static lunge. Good. And then if it's comfortable, lift up with your belly again. Make sure, I always tend to sag my ribs down on the front of that thigh if I don't think about it here. So lift up with that belly. And then open your arms out wide. You're like a bird taking flight, opening the arms away from each other like you're hugging a giant beach ball. Keep breathing. Relax the jaw, the neck, the shoulders. Notice what it feels like. What is your body doing right here, right now? Keep pressing back through that right heel and bring the hands down. And we're going to go ahead and come into lizard lunge. Bringing both hands to the inside of that left leg. I walk that left leg a little bit out to the side. Remember, if your wrists are feeling this too much, come onto your knuckles, right? Take care of your arm, please. And again, you could keep your self upright. You could slowly bend your elbows. You could lower onto any support you would like. You could come to the floor. At any of these positions, you could have your knee down or up. And breathe. Taking a few deep breaths here. Noticing what you're feeling in your body. Noticing the support your muscles are giving you. Good. Putting that knee down. Bring your hands back. And come again to all fours. Whew. And check in. Hey, Millie. Nice to see you, girl. You've got fans. Yeah, I've heard you've got fans in Nebraska. Pretty cool. Okay, so we're gonna come again onto our forearms and come again into forearm plank. And if you know dog body language, when you come down to it, when they put their front paws on the floor like this, it is an invitation to play. So let us not judge Nellie for thinking that it is playtime. Anyway, as I said before, if you'd like to have your knees on the floor, have them on the floor, but just make sure they're back far enough that you're able to be more neutral in your spine. And just keep holding here, drawing the shoulder blades back, relaxing the neck and jaw, noticing what comes up for you. Good. Really nice work. And we'll put our knees on the floor and slowly roll down, stretching the arms back. Good. Now go ahead and bend your right knee. And if you're feeling a lot here in your knee joint, straighten the leg and just try and lift the right leg off the floor and stretch back through the right leg if that does not hurt the knee. If you can bend that right knee, do so. You don't have to grab the leg. If that hurts the knee or the back, don't do that. If you're feeling totally okay on your low back and your knee, you could begin to bring that opposite forearm forward onto the floor, draw the shoulders back, and then I'm going to begin to press back with my foot into my hand, and I'm trying to keep my shoulders and my pelvis parallel, lengthening through the sides of my body, lifting through my breastbone. Good. And then I'm going to come down, and then I'm going to release that leg. And I'm going to turn my head to one side. Sorry, Nellie is off camera now, but she's just really checking this whole home video situation out. She's not sure what to make of it. Okay, we're going to move to the second side. So bend your opposite leg. And again, if it hurts to bend that knee, try and lift that leg up and stretch it back as an alternative. Grab that foot if it's comfortable. If not, just bend the leg. Totally fine. Stop where you hit your limit. Now we're gonna, if you're holding that foot and it feels okay, bring the opposite forearm forward. It's parallel to my mat, the front of my mat. I'm drawing back with that foot. Oh, nice, saw a squirrel. Drawing forward with my breastbone. Whew. Deep, full breaths. Happens to us all, huh? We go through our life and take a moment and come back into your body. Let the squirrels have their tree for a moment. And come on down. Oh. Okay. Push me back up onto all fours. Onto your knees. Take a breath. We're going to do some work on the side of our body next. I'm lying on my right side. I'm really comfortable with my head just on my arm here. Some people prefer to have a rolled blanket, a pillow, a block, something under their arm. Do what works for your body, as always. I'm now going to have I'm lying on my right side, and you'll see my right heel, hip, and armpit are in line. I'm trying not to roll back onto my right buttock, and that means my that greater trochanter, which is like this bony prominence on the right outer thigh. For some people, it like digs into the floor, so if you want to put a blanket there, do so. Totally cool. Anyway, we're going to stretch out through our left leg, lift the left leg up, press out through that left inner heel. My left hand is on the floor. And as I press out through my left inner heel, I'm trying to keep my feet parallel, like as if they were in Tadasana. And then as I exhale, I'm going to bend my left knee and bring my left knee up towards my chest. And as I inhale, I'm going to bring it back to Tadasana. And I'm going to continue doing this. And if this is easy for you and you'd like to give yourself a little more of a challenge, you can lift your left hand up off the floor. Good. And I'm having to work very hard now not to roll back through my right buttock and roll onto my right sitting bone and my right glute. Good, it's just marvelous. And then I'm going to bring my hand down if it was lifted, and I'm going to bring my foot down if it was lifted. Now we're going to take sideline tree pose. So taking your left leg, and I'm going to turn my left leg out, and you'll notice I don't have great ballet turnout. I took ballet for years, but my studio finally said, you know what, you don't have the hips for this. It's just the truth. So my left leg, as you'll see, is not actually pointing up towards the ceiling. It's kind of at this angle. And that's okay, but I need to try and not force my knee further back than my hip can truly turn out, right? And I'm going to have my left foot on my ankle, my calf, or my thigh, wherever I'm comfortable. Today, actually, for me, the calf feels good. You can keep your left hand on the floor if you'd like, or stretch the left arm up towards the ceiling. Good. And just notice how your body feels here. And then if it's comfortable, bring the hand back down. And we're going to roll on to our second side. Okay, I'm lying on my left side now. And again, I'm going to check in with myself. My left armpit, my left hip, and my left heel are all kind of in line with each other. I'm trying not to jump my low ribs forward, which is my big bugaboo, or my big trick, whatever I do. Anyway, my feet I'm bringing to be hip width apart, and I'm going to work my right leg. As I exhale, I'm going to bring my right knee up in towards my chest. And as I inhale, I'm going to bring it back down. And as I exhale, I'm going to bring it up. And as I inhale, I'm going to bring it down. And one more time, as I exhale. No, actually more than one. We've got to be even with our first side. At your own pace. And again, if you would like to, lift that top arm up towards the ceiling. Trying to keep your focus on what you're doing no matter what the world is throwing at you right now. Good. And now we'll bring that top arm down, bring the foot down. Turning your right foot out. And again, being really honest with yourself, so your knee might not belong up towards the sky. And you can have your right foot on your ankle, your calf, or up on your thigh. Check in with where it feels comfortable. And you could have your right hand on the floor this whole time, or you could have your right hand up towards the ceiling, or you could bring your right hand to a deserving doggy. Oh, my little baby. Take a few deep breaths. Okay, and then if your hand is up towards the sky, bring your hand back toward the floor. Stretch that leg out. Okay. And let's come one more time into our child's pose. Okay. We're going to do a standing twist next. It's going to be our last big kind of standing or active stretch before we start to cool down. And it's one of my favorites. You're going to broaden your legs out wide and have your feet pointing kind of straight forward if that's comfortable. And we're going to bend our knees a little bit as we hinge at the hips to come forward into a forward bend. And then bring your hands down to either blocks or the floor. And then if it's comfortable for your back and your hamstring, push into the floor with your feet and lift with your front and inner thighs to straighten the legs. And then keeping your legs very strong, really strong here. Walk your hands out into a dog pose-esque position. Feel your muscles hugging into the bones of the legs. Feel the inner thighs lifting away from each other, staying broad. Good. And now we're going to lengthen way, way forward with that right arm. And you could have your hand on a block if you'd like. You could bend your knees here if you want. I'm going to take my left hand, and I'm taking my left hand towards my right leg. But I'm moving also from the top of that left hip. My left pelvis is rolling around my left femur. My left leg is staying where it is, inner thigh stretching out to the left, but my left pelvis is rotating around that femur head. I could be bending that knee. I could have my hand on the ankle, the calf, the thigh. For me, I love stretching a little bit to that right, looking out under my arm. Oh. Hi, Nellie. Good. And then I'm going to come back to center. You're a good girl. And then I'm going to lengthen way out in front with my left arm. And I'm going to walk my right hand towards that left leg. And again, I could bend that knee. I could have that hand up higher. Make the practice your own, right? This is a time to really get to know our own body. I'm moving my right pelvis around the top of my right thigh. And I'm just taking a few deep breaths here, enjoying the twist. And then I'm going to come back to center. Oh, poor Nellie. And then I'm going to bring my hands to the fronts of my thighs. I'm going to bend my knees and come on up to standing. Step my feet together. And come back down to the floor. And let's lie with our feet on the floor. And our knees bent. Take a couple of breaths here. Notice that your pelvis is parallel. Notice that the backs of your shoulder blades are parallel. Are you rolling from one side to the other? Maybe you're doing that for a good reason because of an injury. But just notice, are you being symmetrical? Take a couple of breaths here. Just notice what your body feels like after the effort we've exerted so far in our practice. And then bringing your right knee into the chest. Just take a breath here. If it's comfortable, bring the right leg into half happy baby pose. Right ankle above the right knee. I like this pose because it's a great alternative if lunges tend to hurt your joints. Always know you can get your hip stretch in a similar position here. It's just a different relationship to gravity. Remember, you can always hold the back of the thigh or the ankle or use a belt around that foot if you want to. And if you'd like to, you could always stretch that left leg out long. I wish I was there to help some of you who like getting some weight on that leg, sorry. But the way to try and create that sensation of having weight on the top of that left thigh is pushing down through that heel towards the opposite wall. Good. And then bring that foot back to the floor. Bring that right leg down. And just take a moment. How'd that land? Hi, Nelly. And then bringing your left knee in towards the chest. Bring that left foot into half happy baby pose. And dropping the shoulder blade down away from the ear. Good. Remember any of these alternatives that you'd like, putting the hand on the calf or the thigh, using a belt. And realizing this is a lunge. Just a different relationship to gravity. If you'd like to straighten the right leg, do so. And remember, the way to ground the left thigh bone down for me has always been to stretch out more with the inner heel. So as I stretch out with that right inner heel, I'm feeling that thigh bone come down towards the floor. Oh, sorry, no. Good. Nice work. Let's put your feet on the floor. And we're going to do a few moments of breathing here. And then I'm going to say namaste and encourage you to turn off the video and do a 5 to 10 minute shavasana. So, Millie, it's been glorious sharing this practice with you. And we're just going to do some breathing and then I'll say namaste. So, lying on your back, putting anything you need to beneath your head as always here. Just take a few moments, and I'm actually having my arms out in cactus here, broadening across the front of my chest so my upper arms are straight out from my shoulders and my elbows are bent at a right angle. Maybe you'd want to have some blankets or pillows underneath your arms to do that comfortably. Maybe nothing makes that comfortable and you just want your arms by your side. Good. I'm going to take a few breaths here. I'm having my eyes closed. You do whatever makes you feel comfortable. And I'm breathing deeply and I'm noticing that my belly's moving while I'm breathing. And I'm noticing that I can open both my shoulder blades and my collarbones away from each other at the same time. I don't have to make a choice to collapse one side of my back to open the other. So really take a moment and feel your breath. And I have a little bit of a lisp. One thing I don't like about making videos is I have trouble speaking sometimes. But breadth and breath are hard words for me. And so anyway, it's I always find it funny that we want to get breath across the chest to get breath in the chest. So just check that out. Okay, namaste.